Welcome to the SmartKeys podcast. Our deep dive today is into a resource that at first glance seems more focused on wellness than on spreadsheets, but which holds massive potential for increasing high-level professional efficiency.
Exactly. We're diving into a resource focused on breathing techniques to reduce work stress and improve focus.
Okay, so let's unpack this. When we talk about breathwork in a productivity context, we're not suggesting you carve out an hour for meditation.
No, not at all.
We are talking about optimizing your internal operating system. And think about the sheer scale of the opportunity here. You take roughly 20,000 breaths a day.
Right.
That cycle is a quick, built-in mechanism to instantly shift your nervous system. If you can master that lever, you have this unparalleled productivity hack right under your nose.
And what's truly fascinating here is that strategic framing. We're looking at breathwork not as some optional self-care item, but as a critical lever for, modern professionals who are just battling constant information overload.
And the chronic stress that comes with it?
Exactly. The relevance is extremely high because intense stress spikes the sympathetic system, that hardwired fight-or-flight mode.
And when you're in that mode, everything gets shallow, right? Shallow breathing, your heart races.
Yeah, you default to this shallow, fast, upper chest breathing, which restricts oxygen flow, accelerates your heart, and critically, it just demolishes your ability to sustain focus. This resource gives us techniques to interrupt that cycle immediately.
It backs us up with some, hard science. We see the citation in the source material from Dr. Mary Ella Blairwood at Northwestern Medicine. She notes that regular conscious practice correlates with measurable outcomes, specifically less cortisol, the stress hormone, and reduced inflammation.
And those are the biological anchors that support sustained focus and cognitive resilience. This translates directly into professional stamina and increased reliable cognitive output.
So the mission here is really performance management, but accessible right at your desk.
That's it. We're extracting practical, desk-friendly techniques that offer quick wins to feel calmer, more alert, and achieving that clarity not by adding caffeine, but by dialing down all that internal noise.
So the core argument for all of this, the thing that underpins all these techniques, is the physiological mechanism activating the vagus nerve. And here's where it gets really interesting, because the question I always hear from skeptics is, how does simply stimulating a nerve switch us from that high alert fight or flight mode to, the restorative rest and digest state? It just sounds too simple.
It is elegant in its simplicity, but it relies on some pretty sophisticated nervous system communication. Think of the vagus nerve as the body's main internal dimmer switch.
A dimmer switch, I like that.
Yeah, it's a major information highway running from the brainstem down to the abdomen, influencing heart rate, digestion, mood, everything. So slow, deep respiratory work acts like the signal on that highway, telling the parasympathetic system, it's safe, you can take over.
And the way to send that signal is through the exhale.
Primarily, yes.
The primary technique is strategically leveraging the exhale. The research emphasizes that a slow, lengthened exhale is what really lowers your heart rate and helps your blood pressure trend downward.
And it's not just the exhale, it's how you inhale too, right? Diaphragm-led.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Ensuring these inhales are diaphragm-led, getting the belly to lift, not the chest, that maximizes the mechanical efficiency of breathing. Better oxygen exchange, more delivery to the brain, which is non-negotiable for clear thinking.
So that makes the exhale maybe the most important phase. But let's get into the specific toolkit the source provides. These are like the actionable software features professionals can deploy at their desk today, depending on the immediate need. We can start with box breathing, the classic 4-4-4-4. So inhale for 4 seconds, hold for 4, exhale for 4, and then hold the empty lung for 4.
The rhythmic symmetrical count is specifically designed to occupy your mind just enough to stop that stress feedback loop.
So its application is really precise then. It is. This is the emergency reset button. If you are, say, 60 seconds from an unexpected high-stakes meeting, or you just got an email that spiked your anxiety.
We've all been there.
Oh, yeah. This 4-part cycle is recommended to quickly regain that mental steady state in under 5 minutes.
Okay, then we have the 4-7-8 pattern. Inhale quietly through the nose for 4, hold for a surprisingly long 7.
That 7-second hold is key.
And then exhale through your mouth for 8 with a soft whoosh sound. This feels very different from the box.
It is. While the box is for that acute stress during the day, the 4-7-8 pattern-specific application is winding down. That extended exhale, particularly, is a potent signal for relaxation, which helps transition the body towards sleep.
So the source suggests doing a few rounds before bed.
Up to 4 rounds, often lying down, to dramatically improve sleep onset.
I do appreciate the warnings in the material, though. It's very clear. For techniques with these extended holds like 4-7-8, beginners might feel lightheaded.
Yeah, and if that happens, you stop immediately. You don't push through discomfort when you're retraining your nervous system.
Exactly. Safety first.
Which brings us to the third pattern, and this is perhaps the most strategic one for sustained performance. Coherent 5-5 breathing.
So this is a symmetrical count. Inhale 5, exhale 5. The goal is what, about 5 breaths per minute?
Roughly, yeah, 5 or 6.
Why is this pattern so important specifically for a professional looking for sustained energy and not just a quick calm down?
It's the Goldilocks rhythm, really. Breathing at this rate directly supports heart rate variability, or HRV.
Okay, HRV, that's a key biomarker for resilience, right?
It is. When your HRV is high, it means your heart rate is able to rapidly adjust to change in demands. You have internal agility. The 5-5 pattern optimizes this balance, supporting steady energy and focus without the jitters of caffeine or, the crash from sugar.
And finally, a great on-the-go tool, pursed lips breathing. This one seems the simplest, inhaling through the nose for 2 and exhaling slowly through pursed lips for 4.
It's simplicity itself. The pursed lips mechanically restrict the outflow of air, forcing the exhale to lengthen and slow down, which, as we've said, is the primary calming mechanism.
So it's useful during light physical activity.
Yeah, climbing stairs, walking quickly to another floor. It helps ease that tightness and reduce physical tension before you even arrive at your destination.
But none of those techniques really work properly, or safely for that matter, if the foundation isn't set right. We have to cover the absolutely critical foundational skill, mastering diaphragmatic or belly breathing.
This is the prerequisite skill. It's the whole game. If you can't fully engage the diaphragm, you're just limiting your capacity for oxygen delivery, and the advanced techniques are working off a shallow base.
So what's the setup?
The key is form. Sit tall or lie back. Place one hand on your belly. Inhale slowly through your nose, making sure the belly lifts into your hand. The chest should stay relatively quiet.
And I think most of us, when we're stressed, we default to that fast, shallow chest breathing. So what is the biggest error people make when trying to learn this, and how do we fix it?
The primary error is treating it like a chest exercise. The chest lifts first. The shoulders rise up toward your ears.
You get that short, ragged air.
Exactly. The fix is to slow the pace right down, almost painfully slow at first, and just focus on that deep internal movement. Imagine the diaphragm descending like a piston, actively pressing the belly outward.
And you have to check your tension, too.
Constantly. Ensure the jaw, neck, and shoulders are consciously relaxed, because any tension there immediately counteracts the calming effect.
That's a great point. And before we move into the strategic application, we have to revisit the safety warning, which is very explicitly detailed in the material.
Yes. While the boxing coherent techniques are quite gentle, the source cautions heavily against rapid, forceful techniques. Things like Kapalabhati, which are rapid exhales, or Pastrika, the bellows breath.
For those prolonged breath hold practices.
Exactly, known as Kumpaka. These methods can drastically change intra-abdominal pressure and cause unwanted spikes in heart rate or blood pressure.
So the takeaway is, if you have any pre-existing conditions,
like high blood pressure, cardiovascular disease, or if you're pregnant, a conversation with a clinician is absolutely necessary before you start experimenting with these more aggressive practices. You have to tailor the approach to avoid risk and make sure the practice is supportive, not destabilizing.
Okay, so we have the techniques, we have the foundational breathing, but how does this all translate into a sustained competitive advantage for a busy professional? It means shifting this from an occasional exercise into an automatic systemic response.
Right, and if we connect this to the bigger picture, the article emphasizes micro-practices for habit building. This, in my opinion, is the ultimate efficiency hack for busy people.
The small, frequent sessions.
The evidence consistently shows that small, frequent sessions, even just 30 to 60 seconds, when they're consistently anchored to something, they drastically beat rare, long, overwhelming sessions.
I get the science, but let's be real. If I'm stuck on back-to-back calls, how do I go from shallow panic breathing to a perfect 4-7-8? Isn't that a big ask when the pressure is on?
It is a huge ask if you haven't built the habit first. And that's why the strategy of anchoring is so key. The article gives these highly actionable micro-practice examples. You don't wait for the panic.
You're proactive.
You proactively anchor the practice to a routine event. For instance, implementing 3-box cycles right before you unmute for a critical virtual call.
Or 1 minute of coherent breathing right after you handle a really tough or draining email.
Yes, or if you hit that 2 o'clock afternoon slump, instead of grabbing a snack, a short 4-7-8 round can reset your energy faster and without the crash.
So the strategy is to embed a 2 to 5 minute break at the same time each day, say before your first meeting or right after lunch. That consistency reduces the mental friction, right? It makes it automatic.
It becomes automatic. Think of it as stress insurance. You pay a 60-second premium to avoid a 30-minute productivity crash later in the afternoon.
And this also directly addresses physical issues, the ones we often ignore during prolonged desk work. The source notes that pairing those slow, deep inhales with conscious muscle relaxation, planting your feet, lengthening your spine, softening your shoulders,
Softening your jaw. It helps release that deep muscle tension that builds up from poor posture and all that screen time. The breath becomes an internal ergonomic adjustment. It addresses the root cause of the tension.
This raises a really important question for the results-driven learner, though. How do we prove this works? How do we stop treating this as, soft wellness and start treating it like a measurable business metric?
The strategic insight here is simple. You have to track your results. The source recommends starting with simple subjective metrics. Monitor your resting pulse, score your sleep quality, track your clarity of mind on a simple 1-10 scale before and after a set.
And to really quantify the benefit, though, especially for those who are using the coherent breathing, the tech-savvy learner can use a wearable device.
Exactly. You use your wearable to compare activity sessions.
Right.
Run a set of 5-5 coherent breathing, and then immediately look at the change in your heart rate variability and recovery data compared to just a regular working minute.
So you get objective data.
You get objective data. This focus on the data, seeing a steadier heart rate, noticing lower perceived pressure, and achieving a quantifiable, clearer mind is what transforms a personal resilience technique into a tool for proactive health management and sustained peak performance. You're quantifying the impact.
So we've taken a deep dive into using your breath as a strategic productivity tool. The key takeaway, I think, reinforced throughout this resource is that consistency matters far more than perfection.
Much more.
Even if you only have time for 3 slow, purposeful cycles, that small investment can regain clarity in minutes.
And the final forward-looking takeaway for you is this. This is an investment that really transcends a single workday. Regular practice is linked not only to immediate stress reduction, but also to improved autonomic balance and the potential to modestly lower resting blood pressure.
Which supports long-term cardiovascular health.
It supports long-term cardiovascular health. This is physical resilience, and that directly impacts your professional longevity.
So consider the difference.
Yeah, consider the difference between reacting to stress with a hit of caffeine or that shallow chest breathing versus proactively deploying a measurable physiological technique like 5-5 coherent breathing. By integrating breathwork and tracking its impact, you're not just managing stress, you are optimizing your primary and most essential asset, your own sustained cognitive power.
That wraps up this deep dive. We hope you found these strategic insights on improving focus and efficiency invaluable, especially as you navigate your high-demand professional landscape.
Thank you for spending this time with us. The concept that small, regular pauses can reset focus and lower daily tension fast is a powerful idea we really encourage you to explore. You can do it right now at your desk.
Thank you for tuning in to the SmartKeys podcast. If you want to learn more about the specific techniques like box breathing or the 4-7-8 pattern, we highly recommend reading the full resource we discussed today.
To read the complete article and get more context on how these methods support sustained productivity, you can find the link right there in the show notes.
And remember to subscribe to the SmartKeys podcast so you don't miss any of our future deep dives into the strategies and technologies shaping the future of work. Until next time.